Alright, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show, the very late and postponed show, and we're very sorry about that. But the time has finally come. I am, of course, your host, Annihilation, and I am joined by my terrific co-host, Hebro and Zir.
Hey! Oh my god!
Hi.
Say hi,
So
folks.
apparently Hebro is talking directly into his mouth. He's giving a big old deep throat mechanism.
Yeah, I'll back it off a little bit.
And of course, we're joined by our guest, the glorious Hero Graphite.
Hi guys, who remembers me? Nobody. Oh,
Nobody important.
I don't even play this game.
Tonight's topic is going to be about RP, and about specifically RP in regards to Warlords of Draenor, as well as other topics and other discussion pieces. So, definitely looking forward to it. I will actually keep my mouth shut for a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the only reason you're keeping your mouth shut up over it is because you know that Blizzard decided they just don't give a fuck about the storyline. They're just making shit as they go along. I mean, come on, we all know that, we can make Wizards do whatever we want. It's fucking magical world. But when they've decided that the entire storyline just doesn't make sense anymore, and they're going to take an old raid boss and have him become the focal point, you know they've given up, and they're just collecting checks.
Well,
Do you hear that sound? That's the sound of all of our viewers simultaneously leaving.
Oh, wow.
You can't say that
Well,
about lore. This is the best lore of any MMO.
Probably say it takes
No.
they take it like even further with their bullshit and say Magic Wizard Dragon did it in this case.
I mean, it's true. I mean, I love lore. I love the storyline that this game is built upon. But you have to admit, Blizzard has really jumped the shark when it comes to what is going to be happening in the next couple of months. I mean, now they've decided that Garrosh is going to be the good guy again after they spent all this time trying to make him the bad guy.
Is that
trying to...
When did that? Is that some like future vision thing that I wasn't aware of? Is that a spoiler that you just dropped on us? What's up? Are you in?
Yeah, does your
Did
uncle
you
work
actually
at
go
Blizzard?
questing in beta?
How is it a spoiler that everyone saw that comic book that came out where he comes off and he decides he's going to stare down, Ner'zhul. I can't even pronounce his name right. I'm so pissed off.
I almost thought that he was going to steal Ner'zhul's thunder, not the other way around.
I just wanted to see him kill Gul'dan.
He's
Was
not gonna
that
kill
Ner'zhul or was it Gul'dan? I think it was Gul'dan.
Oh, it's Gul'dan, that's right. Ner'zhul is that nerd who hangs out in the crown, a nice crown right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right now. Well, his soul is inside the helmet, the Helm of Dominion, or Domination, something like that.
Wait a minute. I thought the soul was conquered back during some book during Wrath Lich King before the raid came out.
Well, the way
Yeah,
it was the way I understand it is that Ner'zhul, after Warcraft 2, when Ner'zhul tore Draenor apart, I think it was Kil'jaeden, was upset because the orcs failed to conquer Azeroth, so he like tore his body apart, took his soul and fused it, or he threw it into Azeroth and like buried him in the ice cap and
Yes.
ice crown.
Yes and no. What happened was Ner'zhul basically is the first person to really get in touch with Sargeras, and well, actually Kil'jaeden, I guess, and is ultimately responsible for the corruption of the orcs. Now, he was kind of a tool in that he didn't realize it was going on at first. Like he thought that it was good, and what happened is that because Ner'zhul is a shaman, and he realized that he was unable to communicate with the ancestors at one point, and basically, or he's losing touch with that, and so he kind of pulled out, and Gul'dan said "fuck you" and took over, and so Ner'zhul pretty much tried to escape Kil'jaeden, and Kil'jaeden was like, "Nope, gotcha," and there you go.
Just to pull this all back, so we end up having Garrosh staring down this warlock while he's turning green because he decided that demon blood tasted good. Somehow that now means that Garrosh is going to be the good guy and the savior of the Horde before it completely corrupts itself. And I feel like this is Blizzard's way of saying fuck you to the entire WoW player base who bitched and moaned about Garrosh during Cataclysm.
I didn't get the
So
impression
they're-
that. I didn't get the impression at all that they were setting Garrosh up to be a good guy.
I think he's turning him into a good guy. I mean, they're definitely trying to prop him back up. And the only way that they could actually ensure that he retains his bad guy status is if he somehow dies during the beginning parts of a leveling quest.
Does he?
I don't know. I haven't played beta.
Oh, is that a speculation?
Everything I say at this point is speculation. Outside of
I
everything
mean,
that's
do you have some sort of is that spoiler alert that apparently he dies during an opening quest in beta?
He could, for all we know, a wizard does it.
I mean, I'm serious.
I don't know.
I was under
I
the
think-
impression that like Grommash was going to say, "Son, you're a fucking piece of shit coward for coming back here and fucking killing him on the spot." That's just what I think.
I think that's what we talked
But-
about. Like, that'd be so awesome if Grommash just
That fits Grommash.
fucking struck down his
But,
alternate
no.
reality son.
No, fuck.
Well,
So
I
that-
guess let's take a step back because there's one thing that I am confused about. So, can someone explain a little bit about how the whole Warlords of Draenor thing?
Like time travel.
Yeah,
I mean,
Alternate universe.
like how a wizard
wobbly?
decided that he,
It-
wizard
you have
did
to think of it like this. Like you have to think of a line that's going left to right. Okay, and that line represents our timeline.
right.
But at one point during the War Crimes book, which, hey, a book in lore, okay. But Karaz Dormu with Rathian and Garrosh pretty much create another line to run parallel with ours.
Why?
And because Metzen exists. But
Well, there's a reason why they do it. It's convoluted, but Rathian does it because in Pandaria
He-
he was trying to unite.
As a backup plan?
Yeah, it's his backup plan for fighting the Burning Legion.
during, yeah, like if you do the legendary quest line, he has, if you're on the Horde, he puts you through your trials or whatever, and he does the same thing for Alliance. But the canon is the Horde. Basically, he thinks the Horde doesn't fit right away. The Garrosh takes the Horde and does exactly what he didn't want him to do. And so then he falls back to the Alliance. But then the whole Varian Rin cinematic happens, and after Varian basically not living up to his expectations, Rathian throws a fit and says, "Fuck this shit, I'm going to redo it again." And that's basically Warlords of Draenor.
Dude, that makes absolutely no sense at all. It'd just be simpler to say a wizard did it, and just they could throw purple items at us.
Correction, a
and
wizard
So what
dragon
is-
did
A
it.
time
what
wizard did it.
What is Garrosh's motive for going back in time in this alternate timeline?
He wants.
Well, he takes he wants to go back and no, see, that's the thing. That's the whole thing behind the character behind Garrosh. He thinks Thrall weakened his people, and he thinks that's that's a bullshit reason why he even went bad in the first place, or was perceived as bad. He just wanted to elevate his people. So when he tried to do that the first time, he failed, and when Rathian offered a second chance, he took it. Basically.
It's
He
been
wants to lift his people, basically.
Yeah, it's been an ongoing thing for a while now, where the orcs are, shameful of drinking Manarosh blood and like being tainted, the green taint, and Garrosh,
Meh.
he wants to lift his people, and what better way to do that than to go back and like redeem, their greatest failure and like prevent it from happening.
Yeah, 'cause,
He's-
he hates what Thrall did to his people, basically. Because I think it was Rise of the Horde book. Garrosh visits Orgrimmar for the first time, and he sees that Durotar's in a near famine, and Thrall's not doing anything about it. That from his perspective, and he sees his people living out in the desert, and it looks like Thrall is putting his people through like a punishment for being something out of their control. So that's basically why Garrosh is pissed in the long run. And then the Siege of Orgrimmar ordeal happens, Pandaria happens, and he does lift the Orcish people out of their rut, but
I feel like
I
it would have
guess-
been better. You know what? If he truly wanted to save the Horde, what he could have done is actually exterminated all of the Draenei when they had the opportunity to do so. Because if the Draenei were completely eliminated, the Blood Elves never would have showed up during Burning Crusade, and we wouldn't have to worry about terrible Alliance players cluttering up the Horde because they require a pretty race to play on the winning team. So,
Somebody's mad.
You made,
Dude,
bro?
I'm super mad. I am still pissed that they made Blood Elves on the Horde side.
I am
They
a-
only did that. Well, come on, let's be honest. You wouldn't be playing Horde if you weren't able to look fabulous, right?
That's true. I'm a blood elf through and through. I love my blood elves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can definitely tell from the way that you've been talking and trying to play up the fact that you are not actively thinking about those males twirling around.
Whatever, you're a troll
Yeah.
lover.
Trolls.
He plays a
damn right I'm
cat person in
troll.
WoW, sir. If that says anything.
I'm not a
Wait,
cat
what?
person, I'm a mouse person. Shut up.
Mouse.
What?
What? That doesn't even make any sense.
I have mouse ears, not cat ears.
Oh, whatever. Nobody cares.
And a
Dude,
cute little fluffy tail.
the only animal ears that are on right now are fat pandas, and I don't think any one of us actually plays that. So
Hey, my
these
panda's a
weren't
rogue.
that bad.
What were we talking about Pandaren earlier in the call? About how they have the perceptually 24/7 kitty face on?
You mean the I'm a furry and Blizzard's trying to get the furry community's money
Yeah.
aspect? Yeah, totally.
Well, let's we can come back to World as a Draenor, but there's definitely a couple questions that were interesting. The specific one, the biggest one, was the who owns Loiteron.
This is. If you're a forum goer on the story forums, you know that this is a fucking can of worms.
How do you define own?
Well, it would make sense that Loiteron is still owned by the very people whom inhabited it. Like, I mean, it's the kingdom still exists. They're just all dead now.
Yeah, but they're not. Technically, they are from Lordaeron. They're Lordaeron citizens. Used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But the Forsaken came flying in and conquered it, and it's theirs.
Yeah, whoever
Well, let's be
conquers it
honest,
owns
seriously.
it.
They didn't fly in; they crawled up from the ground and decided
Same
to
thing.
latch on to the posts of their farms that were crumbling as a result of the Alliance fleeing at the first notice.
Yeah, Alliance basically bailed. Like, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of people that talk about the reclamation of Loiteron, but isn't it? I mean, it still belongs to. I mean, at least as far as I'm concerned, it still belongs to the people that had it in the first place. What right do humans have to claim? What right do humans have left in Loiteron? As far as I know, the royal lineage died with Arthas. The Minithal line is shattered.
It did not. There is a princess
Yeah.
that is still yet in Blizzard's back pocket. She's like Turallion.
Kaelia
Like
Menethil.
she exists in the lore, but they haven't like said a damn thing about her. We have no idea if she's a human or if she's a Forsaken, and I think that depends a lot on because Lordaeron belongs to the royal family. It belongs to this princess, and where the fuck is she? She's basically just letting Sylvanas take her position.
I mean, let's be real here. The Alliance is in no place to stop Sylvanas either.
I maybe.
I think
I
they
think
they
there's-
could.
No,
if
no,
they
no.
wanted
Hold
to.
on.
I don't think
There are still alive Lordaeron citizens in Stormwind.
Yeah,
That
and they
canon.
fled. And guess what happens when you
What do you
lose
expect?
your property?
You say
On
they
top of that, let's be real here. So we end up having a bunch of humans trying to claim some bullshit legalese as justification for taking over property from their previously living relatives. These are the same people who tried to skimp out on paying the stonemason people down in Stormwind, and look what happened there. They got themselves a full-on 2 levels of dungeons out of this because they wouldn't bother to pay off Van Cleef. So we already know that the Alliance aren't fully, at least with it in this whole matter.
in terms of paying off their debts.
Or just not bothering to actually be honest about what their intentions are. I mean, everyone wants a freebie. Why don't you build my walls? Sure, I'm not going to pay you. Oh, you're terrible citizens. Why are you revolting against me? Oh, I want that farm.
let's
No. Let's ignore the fact that the people are still actually inhabiting that area because they're technically dead. Therefore, the will transfer to the next person.
The ultimate truth of the matter is, to the victor goes the spoils, and
Exactly.
right now, there is no way that the Undercity could be taken. I don't think. I just don't think. I don't see it as possible. Like, there's no way that you could.
Is the Undercity? The Undercity is like post like destruction of Capital City, right? Like I think the Forsaken built it, or there was already tunnels under Capital City, right?
There were
no
some,
idea.
but they repurposed the sewer system into
Okay.
what you see now.
I think it would be interesting. I'll be honest. While when I first started playing the game, Forsaken lore fascinated me. I thought Forsaken
Yeah.
lore was the coolest thing ever, and I feel that since after Wrath, it has become dry and dull.
Well, yeah, because they killed off
This
all
is-
the interesting characters.
No, not true at all. Sylvanas is an amazing character. Sylvanas is a
I disagree.
fantastic character.
I totally disagree. I hate her actually.
Because you hate her doesn't mean she's not fantastic.
She is
No.
based in vengeance, and yes, it has been a complete letdown because at the end of Wrath, she basically said, "Well, what now?" Which is a really shitty way to go out with it. I really think that both Jaina and Sylvanas should have been involved in the Arthas fight, much more so than they were.
That whole
What are you
fight
talking
was
about?
fucking
They
awful.
were involved with that fight.
No.
They were
no.
not.
It was
Jaina
Tyrion's
was-
battle.
No, come on. Jaina
It
was
really
sitting
was.
there poking her with her staff at complete melee range. I mean, of course, Jaina would be a terrible PvPer because she's sitting there trying to auto-attack Arthas.
Oh, come
I
on.
thought-
Jaina,
I thought canon was that it was Tyrion's fight, and Jaina and Sylvanas and the whole crew that you saw in Icecrown were just sitting there fending off the Scourge, basically. They were like a huge fucking wave of Scourge or whatever. And I thought I was under the impression it was Tyrion's fighting all these unnamed adventurers.
bullshit.
but
Why
I
is
thought
it
that- I was
Tyrion's
under-
fight?
I don't know. I
Because
was just
he's,
under
he's the
that was
paladin.
under the impression
Arthas
that, yeah.
betrayed the
Paladin?
paladin order, and it was his fight to the Archer Crusade was the ultimate forces of good in the world fighting against the ultimate force of evil. I mean, of course it's his fight. It's paladins versus the undead.
Whatever. Who
It was
has-
like- it
Who
was-
is
has
Jaina?
Ar-
Jaina's a jilted lover, and Sylvanas is some wrench
jilted
that got
lover and-
turned.
Okay, but Sylvanas has a definitive need to be there for revenge.
Tyrion does too.
Whatever, dude. No, the entire
Hold on.
Forsaken race is
No.
built around vengeance.
Tyrion just has just as much of a reason to be there and fight him head on as anybody else. Because back in Vanilla, the whole quest chain behind who killed, like, the whole reason why the Scarlets even killed his dad was because of, well, the Scourge popped up anyway.
Well, because
That's the whole quest line. Like the Scarlet Crusade is like a product of the Scourge, and they fucking went crazy. They killed his dad. I mean, he has just as much of a reason to be upset with this Scourge and the Scarlet Crusade, and he should be there.
But
And he's the only one that can.
his fight.
Huh?
It shouldn't have been just him.
Oh no, I agree, but like he's the only one that can wield the Ashbringer, purified Ashbringer, and that's the only thing that could fight the Lich King.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
if Sylvanas was there instead of Tyrion at the final fight, like, we would have all died. She would not have been able to break
But-
out of that ice. She didn't have the
Well,
light.
maybe she would have had fucking Trinket. Maybe she would have
Drinking it
been,
out of Ice Block.
seriously, or maybe she would have been Spec BM and would have just broken it with Bestial
Right.
Wrath.
Yeah, come on. Tyrion has the most OP racial. He didn't even use it. Come on. Jesus.
I mean,
Break out of anything.
I don't know. I felt that the entire Wrath story was really cheaply done.
Huge
Cheaply
letdown.
done. Now,
I
what are
think
you
it was
comparing
good.
it to? It better be comparing it to
The
either
co-
pre-BC.
The ending was awful.
No, it wasn't.
Think
Then
about
it was
the-
good.
No, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Just
They
because
had
it didn't
all
have
this
your
build-up.
favorite fangirl in it.
Do you know how fucking cool it would have been
It has
instead of.
nothing to do with Jaina. It has to do with the fact that Arthas was a fantastic and absolutely deep and complex character, and they made him out to be Arthas Lich King, me so bad evil. And
But he is bad
They
evil.
didn't-
I belong on a Saturday morning cartoon
Okay,
show.
It's exactly, but it's still two-dimensional. Where they could have put depth there. They could have done some Ner'zhul interaction. You know, with Ner'zhul's soul there. There could have been some glimmer of hope fighting for it. I mean, there's still. They could have done so much more with the character. They still could have done so much more with the storyline. But instead, they basically just gave that the finger. I mean,
well, you know why they gave it the finger? Is because you didn't read the book and you relied completely on quest text in order to figure out what the hell is going on. And that's why we have Graphite here to fill in the details.
Well, that's that's one of the worst things about. That's one of the worst things about Warcraft lore is that you miss all the important stuff if you don't read the damn books.
Or if you don't particularly like a certain aspect of the gameplay. And that's my biggest fucking problem with Blizzard and how they tell the story. Is that if you don't raid, you don't see the story. You don't get your money's worth. And that's how a lot of people think.
Well, that's why they put in LFR.
And that's bullshit, because I'm sorry, but that dilutes the game in general. That lowers the bar completely.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have
gameplay. And I think that's bullshit. They should keep. I don't hate LFR, but I hate what has happened to the game because of it. But even though it doesn't really fucking matter to me, but the bottom line goes down in terms of skill, and it's fucking true. But they should have.
Hey man, you can't completely throw LFR under the bus. I mean, my Spanish abilities have skyrocketed as a result.
Okay, which is another thing. But okay, so
it's not exactly another thing, because the people that truly wanted LFR wanted to see the story, and that's the only reason why they put LFR in the game. Not to give people extra epics or give them a chance to raid. Because LFR doesn't teach you raiding. It teaches you to AFK and get free epics and pull the dopamine slot machine. It basically comes down to people weren't getting the story. They want to get their money's worth, so they made it into this easy mode tourist mode. Which turned into its other bullshit thing. And I think they should have kept this main fucking story out of raids. Because guess what? Other games do it.
What they should... first off, if they really wanted to see the storyline that badly, that's why we have YouTube.
Here's the thing.
People to do it for us.
I don't have time to explain the story to everybody.
They don't go in there and say, hey, whoa, holy shit, I'm going to absorb all this fucking lore while I'm trying to do DPS or heal my fucking tank or whatever the fuck. That's not what raiders think. No, I don't think there's any respectable raider that goes in there.
I felt that the Kill Jaden fight in Sunwell was incredibly epic and steeped with lore, and it felt like, holy shit, we have to save the world.
Bullshit, because Envina and Caligo's storyline was in a fucking manga, whatever you fucking say that. And who read that one?
I didn't, because I'm not a goddamn weebo.
Who knows who Envina is?
She's the embodiment of the Sunwell.
Who fucking knew that? And I want to ask you this.
I did.
How long? But did you know it when you were raiding? And can you safely say most of your friends that you were raiding that killed Jaden actually gave two shits about that?
Probably not, but it's still, the fight was incredibly epic. You still had Kill Jaden, arguably other than Sargeras, the scariest motherfucker out there, coming out of the Sunwell, halfway out. The dialogue going back and forth, and granted, the voice acting between Envina and Kalikos was awful. However, it was still like, we are saving the goddamn world. Shit is about to go down. If we don't win right now, all is lost.
Yeah, but you kind of lose that. You kind of lose something like that in transition when you do it in LFR, and there's 15 people derping AFK, and this epic moment is happening, and then you're just kind of face rolling through it.
I feel like that type of feeling is long gone for a lot of people, and that's why I think you should keep raiding for raiders and story for story people. Keep it separate. The times have changed, man. I don't go into a raid to see the apocalypse unfolding and I stop it. That's not why I raid anymore. I raid because it's challenging, and I like raiding. I like bullshitting around with my friends, and a lot of people think that way.
I think you could still get both. I think you could actually get both out of it. I don't think that's not my disagreement with Blizzard. I think that the problem is I think that Blizzard has gotten lazy with their storytelling. I don't think it has anything to do with LFR ultimately. I think it truly is just Blizzard being lazy with it. Give me one good reason why there still has to be a Lich King.
I can actually explain this one. So let's pretend that you took away whatever is sitting up there on the frozen throne. You got a bunch of mindless zombies kind of wandering around. Now, it's not like they suddenly lose whatever animation they have. They still kind of wander around. The Cult of the Damned, I think is what they're called, they're still running around. But they're all fragmented, so all it takes is some relatively powerful warlock to say, you know what, fuck you all, I'm going to take over what's already available, a pre-risen army, and then take control of them. What can prevent that? Somebody else who has more power already sitting there at the helm, making sure that they can't be used as an active weapon.
You've thought about this.
But that's okay. So I would argue that, all right. So the whole thing, there always must be a Lich King. Blah 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 blah. Like I've gotten several whispers in game, which I'm glad I did. That Arthas killed Ner'zhul's soul in The Last of Us Humanity prior to the expansion even beginning. Great. Yeah. So you have this incredibly powerful madman that is controlling this vast army, which we somehow beat. And is that really all? Like, having a controlled army versus a bunch of scattered remnants, which we just clean up, how is that bad? Like, why does there really need to be a Lich King? That felt like a complete and total fucking cop-out.
Because we could either leave... Okay, so then we had the issue of Bolvar kind of hanging out up there. So where does he go otherwise?
He dies. Goes to heaven.
Put him out of his misery. Holy shit.
Why can't he die? Why?
Oh, yeah, he can't die because Alex Draza breathed the fire of life or whatever into him. He can't die.
She decided to blow some garlic nod on top.
Because Alex Draza fucked up.
Yeah, she did, and now you can't do anything. So the only thing that could probably kill him is Naru, however you pronounce it. One of those guys showing you say, "Yo, oops," and cleaning it up, which they're not going to do.
Well, you can't just say it's so easy to just mop up the rest of the Scourge, because the Argent Crusade has been working on that in the Western and Eastern Plague Lands forever, and they're barely making any progress.
I think they're making just fine progress.
Yeah, dude, you have people like the 7th Legion, which is like the most badass military unit in Warcraft, that has trouble with the Scourge. And that's another thing about the storytelling in this game. It's like, it's... When you witness a story or a quest line in the game, it's not about you. It rarely is solely about you as the character, and that's true. Because it is about the characters that Blizzard writes for these stories. You are an unnamed adventurer that witnessed these storylines unfolding,
right?
And that's a problem because you can feel a connection, but you're not going to feel a connection most of the time because it's not about you in the long run. It's about Tyrion. It's about the 7th Legion. It's about.
I think that's.
It's about Garrosh.
See, those are the characters that I want. It doesn't have to be about me. I don't have to be the player character. I want to know about the story.
Well, then why make it an MMO? Why can't you should just do that in the RTS like they did in the first place? They made a great story out of an RTS game, but then they turned it into an MMO, and it just kind of diluted itself because you have to appeal to the lowest common denominator.
Well, it's more than that. You also have to keep in mind that there's equal gameplay if you're going to have two teams. You can't...
Brynolf says, damn annoyed for stealing Bolfar's cracked talisman.
What?
This is what happens. See, you're just going to encourage this kind of behavior.
Damn annoyed for stealing Bolvar's cracked talisman.
Yes, we can...
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
Go to
what... Blizzard is stuck with the idea that they have to appease both factions because they're both player and you can't limit them from one aspect of the game. I mean, let's be perfectly honest, during Wrath, if we were going to go completely by how lore should be, the Horde would be completely unplayable. They wouldn't be able to hang out at the Dragon Temple because the Red Dragonflight rightfully pissed at the old Horde for fucking up their Red Dragonflight. Then the Argent Dawn or Argent Crusade, whatever they are, would still be distrustful of orcs in particular, and they probably wouldn't be able to actually get inside Icecrown Citadel when it came time to raid the fucking thing.
Here's why your premise is wrong. Because they aren't trying to satisfy both factions. They're satisfying the Horde. Because Alliance haven't gotten shit for like the last few expansions. And we're getting a new expansion that's like, who's in the front box? A fucking orc.
Well, I mean,
who's in the cinematics?
Like all the Draenei, I'm telling you.
Humans are boring.
You could have killed the Draenei early on. That's what Garrosh should do. Kill all the Draenei. We can solve this. Have this one faction. Everyone be Horde. There are no Blood Elves. Everything's perfect.
But the Draenei are interesting.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. Hold on.
Okay, no, they're
If
not.
They have such potential to be interesting, but Blizzard shits
space
all
allow
over
me
them.
to champion the Draenei for a second because they're
Do it.
they're
Do it.
fucking
Take it away.
hold on. They are fucking aliens from Argus for one. However you pronounce their homeworld.
Right.
They are fucking powerful motherfuckers. They're light demons basically. They're aliens. They're. Have you ever
They're
looked at like all the
protons.
shit in Exodar? Have you ever like
They're-
looked at all the cool shit that they have? Like
You know why? They're goddamn Protoss. Because at some point during Crusade, some developer decided, you know what? Would be really fucking cool if we had Zerglings in this game. No, we can't do that. That'd be weird. Let's do Protoss. Yeah, we already have humans. Let's do that instead. So we're gonna put goddamn Protoss in here and just take away the fact that they were actually useful and had any kind of background. We're just gonna make it up as we go along.
Hey, at
I
least it's
just-
more interesting
and
some
it-
damn barbarian race sitting in
The-
loincloths making mud huts over on the Horde again.
They're not making. Okay, whatever, dude. Orcs are interesting. Ultimately, here's the most interesting alliance races by far are the dwarves and the gnomes. There is no contest.
Night elves. Night elves used to be really interesting until they again started ignoring
Whatever.
them.
Night elves. Why don't night elves are haughty, arrogant little douchebags.
They were so
that are-
awesome in Warcraft 3. They were so awesome. They were so savage and brutal.
They could pew 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 people, but that doesn't mean that they have any depth from a lore perspective. Fucking gnomes nuked themselves.
War of
How
the
cool is
Agents.
that?
They have a whole 10,000 year historical depth. How can you say Night elves have no depth?
They did nothing for 10,000 years.
Exactly.
Like, they
No.
sat
Nothing
around.
except worship a goddamn tree.
What
and
was there
jerk
to
off.
do? What was there
They
to
were
do?
literally sitting,
oh,
they're sitting around playing with each other, and then one of them gets the idea, hey, let's play with magic a little more than we should. Boom, the world blows up.
They just fought like a devastating war for
Hey, let's never
the
do-
fate
let's never
of the
do that
world.
again.
They deserve
wait,
like a 10,000 year
They
break.
fought a devastating war with the fate of the world with the help of 3 time travelers. One is a fucking dragon, one is a human mage that is
Okay.
incredibly powerful, and the other is one of the most badass orcs of all time, as well as the forerunners of the Taurens, as well as the dwarves. Though
God.
they had fucking help.
Fuck Richard Knack, god damn it. Fuck, god damn it. That trio that you just mentioned, I hate all 3 of them. They're bullshit. I
Ronan?
fucking hate them.
Are you-
I hate Richard Knack.
Broxigar? Broxigar is amazing. Don't even talk shit about
Because he's a
Broxigar.
Mary Sue. Holy shit, dude.
He's not a Mary Sue, he's an
Oh
old
my
dude with a
God.
big
He's
axe.
not even that old.
In the... Damn it. He just... I hate Richard Knack. I'm not even gonna get into this. It's fucking bullshit.
Yes, get into it. I want to hear Hebrew rage because he's wrong.
Because Richard Knack is... Come on,
Well,
okay.
Zir doesn't
wavy
like
raptor
Broxigar
army
either.
boy. Wavy hair raptor boy. And super orc that just appeared out of nowhere. And whoever the fuck else, the goddamn dragon dude. I don't even know his name. Was it
Coral
Okay. Oh yeah, okay. Now I remember.
Right.
But okay, I hate Richard Knack because he overhyped Ronan to unspeakable levels of bad. Like, for one, I just hate how he described the guy. Like that just ticks me. Like I just fucking hate the guy. I hate Ronan. Like, he's a Mary Sue beyond Mary Sue. Like he is.
I mean,
he
I-
might as well be a god. Like
Let's
now
be
he's
honest,
dead.
he is better. He's much more interesting than Thrall. I mean, he literally is fucking Chris Metz and Jesus.
They're all a Ronin.
no,
Right.
like,
He is.
What was you? Richard Knack devalued Sargeras by letting some piece of shit little orc guy nick him with his axe.
I don't think so. I think I mean, you can call Broxigar Mary Sue. However, the very fact that there is like that this one guy was able to put a scratch in this. I mean, I think that in and of itself adds depth. I think time travel in general sucks ass, but
Yes, I agree.
still, the fact of the matter remains. Going back to the original point, the Night Elves had help. The Night Elves had a ton
Yes.
of help. And let's be fair, they were fighting a war that it was their own goddamn fault for. So sympathy, don't have it.
But I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm just telling you that they are interesting because they did all that. One orc and one human, and
Highborn.
they had
are
all the gods
interesting.
on their side.
Night Elves are not.
I think the
That's
Night Elves
fair.
are interesting, and
Hey,
I still think the
don't
Draenei
have
are
to
interesting.
make
The
it
Draenei,
accents.
the Draenei are just underutilized. They could do so much cool things with them, but you'll see it this expansion. They're not going to give the Draenei shit. They're going to be there,
What are you talking about?
but it's going to be
I
all
believe
about
that
the
they're
orcs. It's going to be all
They're
about the
going
orcs.
to have spaceships that they're going to fly around. They're going to start pew-pewing everywhere. It's going to be great.
No,
mean,
it won't, because
let's-
that's not going to happen.
Let's look at. Oh, but see, they could have done that with gnomes and goblins a long time ago. Look at the creativity of both of those races from different angles, and the things that those races have accomplished and done. Fucking I mean,
Goblins aren't creative.
Gnome. Oh, fuck you.
They're oops, I just blow myself up jokes over and over and over again. Goblin shows up. I guess he's probably gonna blow something up.
I think
Hey, at least the goblin makes money out of the goof up. And
Yeah,
come on,
I think-
dude.
Yeah,
But,
explosions
seriously,
and
like,
money.
all
That's
the
a
races-
goblin.
You know who the most disappointment? The biggest
There's a
disappointment are
cheater.
the goddamn Draenei. I mean, come on. They literally crashed down in a spaceship. We've established they come from space. They have spaceships. They have weaponry.
They
they
are.
don't
They
get used.
We're gonna
Yeah.
hang out on the ground.
and I
Yeah,
agree.
Varian's just sitting there like, guys, I need a military to fight these things. And then he's like, he has these fucking space aliens that have like tech beyond their years, just sitting there, rotting on a fucking island that with a huge goddamn spaceship. And dude, Tempest Keep, that's a fucking weapon in itself. But that's just like a testament to Draenei tech, and doesn't get used. None of their technology gets used.
Well, that's
I mean-
because they would. If their technology is that advanced, they would kill everyone and
Good.
just win. They would win. No more Warcraft. Draenei win. Space goats for everybody. Russian
It-
space goats.
And that's why they should have been written better, for one, and expanded on. Imagine having some like super fucking cool like light blaster technology shit in WoW, because it makes sense sort of, because that shit already is starting to happen. Like,
Dude, you realize if they had some kind of light-lasting shit, they would be invincible in PvP. I mean, come on, think about it. Healers right now, you got priests shooting all their shit all over the place, like shining off their pennants.
well,
and stuff. People
that's the
ignore
thing.
them.
The light is the element anyway, and that's how I look at it. Like, light and shadow are elements. Why can't that be? I mean, we have fucking mages firing.
So would you say that the light as well as the shadow aren't inherently good and evil? They're just.
Of course, they're just elements, and they get used for different shit or whatever.
Scarlet-
And that's the thing about corruption, is that it's usually fell corruption. Shadow isn't inherently bad. It's just most of the corrupted and evil that you see is corrupted by fel. That's why shadow is not exactly bad, but whenever someone is using shadow for evil, it's usually corrupted by fel magic, demonic fel magic.
Mhm.
So I mean, shadow is an element that you use, and I mean, of course, there's like necromancy, which isn't really fel magic, but I guess that's a question: is it really bad?
Well, I mean,
Sort of. I mean, it technically is, but
I mean, it's just the animation of corpses.
that's all.
just a little bit bad.
That's all.
But no, it's still an element that
Well,
gets wielded.
when you think about it, the animation of corpses in and of itself isn't inherently evil either, because it's
It's
no
not.
like no It's the animation of anything. The use of souls could
Is
be
evil.
considered evil, but necromancy in and of itself, I don't know. I don't. Think,
Yeah, that's pretty shitty, dude. Yeah, I'm going to completely defile the fact that, hey, you've gone to a better place. No, you haven't, so fuck you. I'm going to use
no,
you,
they're using their body, not their souls. It depends on the type of. I mean, like I said, all right. If we're
that's
talking
okay.
about necromancy in and of itself of their souls, okay, so that's one thing. That's you're corrupting like an immortal part of them. However, if you're just using their body, which they're not fucking using anyway, because they're dead, it's gonna rot.
I don't use my stereo. Doesn't mean you can come in and start taking it and just use it yourself.
You're dead.
Yeah, but my immortal soul is still out there somewhere.
Yeah, but
You can't just take my stuff because I'm not living in it at the moment.
Not living at the moment. You're never gonna use it again.
You don't know that.
What if a necromancer brings you back?
Wait, how about here's a better question. What happens if you do come back? Do you still have rights to it, or does your neighbor get it?
I guess it depends on the will.
Or who's reading it? Maybe a stonemason will read it. Yeah, that'll be great.
I don't know. I really do wish that there would be more done with gnomes, especially because I do find I disagree completely with Aggro. I think that gnomes are fucking cool as shit. I mean, they nuke themselves. They're brilliant. They're quirky. They have all the good parts to make good characters, and
They just don't get used.
they get
Basically.
they don't get used. The leader. What's the leader of the gnomes?
Megatork.
Yeah, Megatork. What I have read about Megatork, he's a cool fucker. He's a cool dude, and yet he gets completely shit on. And then the gnomes that are basically one running joke after another, but they actually do have depth.
Dude, they have as much depth as they are tall. Come on. All they do is they sit around, they blow things up, they yell about goblins, and whenever Blizzard decides, hey, we want to use a wizard to advance the storyline, but not use a wizard. How can we do it? Oh, a gnome will make up what we're doing.
Yeah, but that's what the goblins do. The goblins just run around, blow shit up, and they complain about the gnomes.
Goblins are a different facet of it. They're the reckless points of technology, whereas gnomes are much more of a refined part of it. I don't know. I think that they could have done a lot with it. I think that they can still do a lot more with dwarves. It's completely underutilized, but the scenarios that really talk about how basically the wild hammer and the Bronzebeards were off basically circle jerking each other, and the Dark Iron were the ones that stepped up and said, "No, fuck you, we're gonna do this." That was cool, and it sucks because it was used in a fucking scenario that no one actually looks at, but it's really cool.
It's even worse because I think it was in a book too. Like most of that storyline, like the scenario is just a fraction of that story. I think, isn't it?
I think so.
Wait, people actually do scenarios? What?
Hey, scenarios are good.
I just do it for valor points.
Let's switch over.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to change the topic over, because I think we haven't really talked much about, because we talked about lore, but we really haven't talked much about using the lore through RP. And that's something I really want to talk about. Is how can we?
There is no debate. You use the lore in your RP. There's no, hey, I like this part, let's bring in something else. Because the moment you start doing that, you end up getting a bunch of My Little Pony fanboys trying to talk about whatever pony they like the most while they're standing next to Garrosh, and that just isn't kosher.
Yeah, but the way in which sometimes Blizzard just seems to make. Well, we've already agreed that they make a lot of dumb decisions when it comes to lore, but it actually affects the way that we RP our characters. And this was a big thing that people were talking about on the forums, is this alternate timeline or ultimate dimension. I don't know what it is technically.
It's an alternative universe that is back in time.
How do we RP that? Like, because I think some people are saying that once you go into New Draenor, you can't come back, but in the game we can. So
wait a minute. So you're saying a wizard said we could go forward, therefore a wizard can't make us go back?
Yeah, basically.
No, we're going back. We can't go back forward.
Why not? Why can't we use a wizard to go backward? Or a time wizard?
Dragon wizard. No, yeah, there you go. That's more correct.
I mean, so we've already established they can go forward. Why can't they go back? Do we need to go sit in a car that's made by a Draenei and go 88 miles an hour while getting struck by lightning in order to make it happen?
That'd be cool.
Maybe we'll get a scenario out of it.
Damn, I want that now.
You would like that now.
Yeah, because at least Draenei would be used for something.
You can make the same argument with Dalaran. Technically, Horde shouldn't be going to Dalaran right now.
I think that's a little bit different. No, that's a little bit different because Northrend in the game is a different story.
It's technically in the past.
That's how I do my RP and my story and all that. Is like, say for example, if I make a new character, I don't usually RP while I'm leveling, but if I decide to go back and do the Warcraft story, then my characters specifically are a little bit older. They lived through the Warcraft story so far. That's just how I do my characters. But if I'm going to write about that specific time, I'm going to make it its own story. I'm not going to like RP it chronologically because that's bullshit and really hard to do.
Yeah.
Because the story jumps around. So like, say for example, if the original Warcraft story, I have a character that lived through the original World of Warcraft story. But if someone asks me like, "Oh, what happened to your character in the Cataclysm?" I'm not gonna like do it right there. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna write a story for what my character did during the Cataclysm." Same thing for Northrend and same thing for Outland. Like, don't do it in chronological order. It's just gonna get messy and you're gonna get confused and give up.
Well, that's what some people were saying was like they can't consciously RP in Dalaran because the Horde aren't allowed in Dalaran. But when you go to Dalaran in the game, that's Dalaran from like 3 years ago during Wrath of the Lich King. Like the Sun Reavers are still there. They still have that whole half of the city to themselves. So how do you reconcile that? Like, just because Blizzard arbitrarily decided that the Kirin Tor hate the Horde now, oh, I can't go to this really cool city, even though technically all the NPCs are still here.
Well, if you want to get really technical about it, who was the one who purged the entire city of all the Horde? It was a wizard,
Jaina?
right? Yeah,
Oops.
a wizard. A wizard did it.
So I guess it comes down to is you like I know it's hard. Like all this bullshit time jumping, or I
That's-
guess not time jumping, but like
Yeah,
as it went out of chronological order, it's fucked up. And when you try to go back, it's like, well, this is like in the past. How's this gonna work?
That's why I just
type of
don't
deal.
care. Like, if I want to RP in a city, like, I just do it. Like, yeah, I'm lower breaking, but in the end, what does it really matter? Like, I'm not gonna listen.
But where's the line?
The line is where
Well, I
I
would
say it
say-
is.
The line is where you physically can't have a wizard do it, and I feel that once Blizzard takes away wizards, we can no longer rely on that as an excuse for bullshit.
So what you're saying is that someone can RP as, Garash's bastard child of him and Drain and Jaina's love affair.
As long as you
Sure,
from an
why-
alternate timeline.
As long as alternate timeline and a time wizard dragon facilitated that particular marriage, and it will be perfectly kosher with me.
Because you can't say that's not true. Like, alternate timelines are canon now.
So basically, what you're saying is that as far as lore goes, everything is completely out the window.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just like what is Assassin's Creed?
So-
Nothing is true and everything is permitted.
I never played Assassin.
Same thing. That's actually the same. That same rule actually was actually applied to the Elder Scrolls series recently with the Coda. Like anything that happens in game is now considered canon based on your save file. I'm not even bullshitting because this is how Michael Kirkbride like functions.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Are you sure that's not him trying to advertise for the failed MMO?
I
It
don't even
sounds
know,
like-
but it sounds crazy. But
Careful, don't say failed MMO where legs can hear you.
it's not
Loser
failed.
shit.
It's just the
It's a
story.
failed
is kinda
MMO.
stupid.
The
Kinda
story's
failed.
stupid. Very few people play it, and you're a
That's
fool
not
if you
true.
actually
There's-
pay a subscription fee for it. I mean, come on.
That's a healthy population. It's not dead, but it's not the best. It's
Well,
not
Sierra
dead.
Leone has a healthy population, but they still have an Ebola problem.
Are you saying Elder Scrolls Online has an Ebola problem?
Yes.
Did a wizard do it?
Well, sadly, no. It's probably like Wizard Ebola or something. I don't know.
What I
Well-
was trying to say with like Elder Scrolls is like once you insert that into the lore, it makes everything you do kind of pointless.
Well, then what? Okay, let me ask you this, and I guess I will direct this to both our guests and then my co-hosts. What would you, from a lore perspective, what would be super intriguing to you? What would you like to do?
That's a really broad question.
Like from an in-game context, what would be a cool thing? Like, for instance, you can take Heimdall, and anything that Heimdall is going to say is, we want to reclaim Loiteron. I'm sure that would, he would pop a fat one if he could invade Loiteron.
Actually, you know what? That would be much more interesting than going back in time. I would rather see a development in the storyline with what's going on in Arathi and Greater Lordaeron. Because Blizzard promised us, yeah, remember this one? Blizzard promising us that they were going to have it act as an active campaign all through Cataclysm as to what the fuck is going on over there. I want to know what the fuck happened to that Death Knight who got stuck into that sadomasochist dungeon of Sylvanas' at the very end of that quest line for the Horde.
Yeah, me too.
I want to know. I think
Master Plague Lands or
Like,
whatever.
truthfully, after
Hall.
everything that Sylvanas did during that entire campaign, I'm impressed that neither the Ebon Blade nor the, what are they called, the Argent Crusade still.
Argent Crusade. Yeah.
They're hanging out right there, right next door. Like, they're not even a valley away. And, oh, hey, we're using Plague. Nothing happens. I want to see what the fuck happens with this, because I feel like Blizzard is lining up Sylvanas to be a
Dude.
new raid boss, and
Yeah, like
nothing's happening.
What you're fucking doing is fucked up when Garage fucking Hellscreen tells you that using the plague is fucking bad news. Like,
Yeah.
when Garage says, "Don't do that shit."
Yeah, they could do a lot more with it, and they could do a lot more with the light, and I don't know. I think that, for me personally, that is one of the most fascinating aspects of Warcraft lore is the dichotomy between the light and the dark, the idea of, there being holy priests for Forsaken that can heal but also hurt themselves while they do it.
Yeah.
The story, the back and forth between Sylvanas and everything else, I think that is absolutely fucking fantastic, and I think that it has been completely cast to the wayside. Likewise, I think that the entire Stromgarde storyline could be fantastic as well.
That's what I was gonna. That was my answer to your question. The whole Arathi Highlands and what happened to Stromgarde and that whole nation in general is awesome. Like, they are a warrior nation. They're like the Spartans of Azeroth, and they just fucking keel over. They just fucking die off. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, that is a untouched quest line that should be brought back, or something happens. People fled from Lordaeron during the Third War, like the whole plague shit and everything. Mm-hmm. But what happened to Stromgarde and Arathi Highlands and everything about Stromgarde? Like, what the fuck happened to them?
The only error.
You're telling me that they didn't not necessarily flee, but like went into a retreat and getting ready to recoup and take that shit back? I mean, I don't buy it. They were a fucking warrior nation. Like, like that's a story I really want to see. Like, I
think that could be really cool. The Sylvanas' sister storyline could be very cool.
War crimes.
Oh, God damn it.
No,
yeah.
Illyria and Tyrallion are also another character. They're one of, like, Tyrallion's my paladin.
Yeah, Aurelia and Tyrallion. We still don't know what really... Well, we know that Tyrallion is basically just, like, hanging out in Hellfire Peninsula just because he's chilling there.
Nobody knows
we don't know what
doing.
happened to Illyria. That's what he's doing.
You know, the way the Warcraft story is going, I actually don't want them to bring back Tyrallion.
Yeah.
Because my image of Tyrallion is that's the guy that gave Uther the Lightbringer title. Like, he's badass. Like, he's awesome.
Well, yeah, and I hope that he does come back. So at least if he does come back, maybe he'll push the Lordaeron storyline as to, hey, let's actually do something with all this rather than having people do this perpetual fight at level 35. I would love to see that entire Western and Eastern Plaguelands turn into a open battleground.
Yeah.
Fuck Ashran. I would rather see people going over there and just, practical ground.
Yeah, like, I want to. My idea of Tyrallion is he comes back with however bullshit wizard time dragon thing you want to put in there, but he comes back and he's fucking pissed at Varian because he does shit.
Civil War.
In the first, no. That would be fucking cool for Alliance, and that's character development. What's that?
Yeah,
like,
Civil War for the Alliance. That would be fucking amazing.
I don't buy it that Tyrallion would just sit there and see that his Alliance is like
the only problem is
around.
The only problem is from an in quotes realistic standpoint. If the Alliance fell to Civil War, then Sylvanas would basically just rape them all in the asshole.
What are you talking about? She
Straight up,
she can't do anything. She had to go through she would have to go through the dwarves, and she can't go through Cosmodan.
She would march straight the fuck down and put her giant dead proverbial dildo penis right into their buttholes.
Just because you want it to happen with your fangirl Sylvanas doesn't mean it's going to happen. The dwarves would stop her in her tracks. The dwarves and gnomes combined would not even let her through.
The Gilneans almost
Dwarves can't agree on shit. The Dark Iron dwarves had to fucking basically take up that man.
If Sylvanas marched on Stormwind, the Gilneans would just go right through her backside while she was away.
Almost did it.
What do you mean? Gilneans are hanging out in a goddamn tree all the way in fucking Dark.
They still have a resistance.
Okay, hold on.
Do the storyline. It's still fine.
They have a bunch of fucking little dogs. That's not a resistance.
That resistance held back the entire Undercity.
You can't throw the Gilneans under the bus. Like, that's stupid.
Hold on, we can totally toss them under the bus because
no. Hold on. During the Sylvanas short story, she was sending the Forsaken into a meat grinder of Gilnean rapid fire from their archers and just a whole undead meat grinder. Of Forsaken soldiers just falling over. Like, she can do it.
And then she can just raise them back with her fucking Valkyrie superpower.
You can't re-raise Forsaken. You have to raise fresh corpses.
Okay, so we kill off some fucking hounds and raise them.
That's the point. They couldn't kill them.
So you know what you end up having to also rely on? Come on, we already know the Alliance can't handle a bunch of level 20 elites and Nomergon. What the hell are they going to do with actual level characters right now?
I actually
Not
agree
going to happen.
with what Brindle just said. Sylvanas has become a boring 100% evil witch with no complexity. I agree completely.
Yeah.
Like
That
like,
describes like
say-
every character in the game.
I
They're
mean, I
all
guess that's
boring
what-
and one-dimensional.
that's it. Like, I mean, it's all like, I mean, that's one thing that made Warcraft so fucking intriguing to me from the get-go. It is every single character had that susceptibility to corruption, but at the same time also had their good and strong points. Like Illidan was a great example of like kind of that dichotomy of I want to do the right thing, but I'm also a fucking moron. You know, Arthas, another phenomenal example.
So you're saying they can't do that anymore? They haven't done it in
They
a long
haven't.
time.
No, they haven't.
Well, that's what
They made Arthas 100% evil, Sylvanas 100% evil, but without any actual like one of the really cool things about the entire thing of the Horde and the Alliance and what the original story was all about is that good and evil are state of minds, and it has nothing to do with race or creed or anything else. And I feel like they're getting away from that. I do agree that Alliance should have more spotlight. So if they could have a civil war, if Terralion wants to come back, rally Keepers, rally Stromguard, and basically say this is fucking stupid Varian, go suck a dick, and have a civil war, I think that would be absolutely phenomenal. But at the same time, Sylvanas would definitely have to have a midlife crisis.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said earlier in the discussion, is that Warcraft 3 had such a good story because they had the freedom to tell the story they wanted to with an RTS. Now it's an MMO, and they have to pander and like play it safe in order to keep subscriber numbers up, and they just can't tell a riveting story.
Yeah, well, that's also like a problem with MMO storytelling, because when I play a character like an RPG, I want to develop my character. It doesn't matter, like even if it's a story or just like some sort of like, I don't know, my character has some little quirk or whatever, and along with the stat game, which the stat gameplay, whatever, that's cool. But when I'm playing, my problem always with Warcraft has been like World of Warcraft is
I'm
like
sorry, Dan. By the way, I have to. I don't mean to.
It's fine. It's fine.
Whenever I say Terralion, I'm sorry. I meant to say down the Trollbane.
Oh, that would be badass.
That's what I meant.
I think I told you
that's what
about that
you're
once, Graphite, when we were in Wildstar and I was spinning off that tale of Daneth coming back and reclaiming Erethdor and like leading a splinter faction of the Alliance, and then Varian just sits down there and pisses and like stomps his feet back and forth, and
that would have been like cool. That would totally been a better match for what I was going for with the Alliance. Because like Mr. Rivial, I always had the Terralion discussion with him. He always says that Terralion, I don't think Terralion would judge this Alliance because he comes from an older Alliance, or maybe he's just enough to realize that he probably has no say this new one.
He's dead.
I mean, we don't know.
No, he's not dead. Because if he was dead, Blizzard would let us know he's dead.
I think he's dead.
He could be a completely different person. He might not even be a paladin anymore. Maybe he's fallen.
Yeah, maybe
don't know.
in the brand new world that we're going to have, we'll find out that he encountered a time wizard dragon of his own, and he ends up becoming a gnome. And therefore, the gnomes will now have some kind of character development.
He's dead.
You know what's popular right now is Game of Thrones, and Warcraft needs to Game of Thrones it up. It needs to put in political intrigue, backstabbing, lots and lots of character deaths. They need to kill people off.
You realize that WoW already has that Game of Thrones element, and it is like Blood Elves and like people writing their own like fan fiction shit.
That's
No. Game of Thrones is it's bullshit. No,
it's a good story.
Storyline. It's bullshit story, dude. It's written.
The show's dumb, but the books are great.
No, books are terrible. You end up having this guy trying.
I haven't read the books.
Wait,
I got to about page 100 before I had to turn it off because I realized I was reading about a 13-year-old about to have sex. No, thank you.
Sorry,
Awesome.
Zir, I disagree with you completely. The books are great.
They're riveting.
I mean,
So you enjoy
Someone's
reading
fan
about
fiction.
13-year-olds having sex? I'm glad
okay,
we are.
so I'm sorry
Hey.
that you're having that you suddenly have developed a moral compass. My bad, but if you can get the fuck over yourself
I
and
have
realize
always
it's still
moral compass. I've always had one. Just the problem is you guys are have your heads so far up your ass you don't realize that hey, maybe this is not cool. 13-year-olds, dude, come on. We even had a movie about it during
They're
1990s.
fake 13-year-olds. They're not real.
I'm so sorry that 13-year-olds got raped, but the reality is, I mean, just because bad shit happens doesn't make it a bad story. It's a bad story if it's a bad story, but bad shit happens to good people. Period.
So I should be willingly going out and buying smut just because.
It's not smut. It doesn't talk about how.
Wait.
Well, I mean,
Which
yes,
character is
Yes,
this?
it does. Oh, ho, ho, ho! It's
To the
like
matter,
100 pages. It's like hey, let's talk about the moisture going on here, and that's
Hey.
why I put the book down.
Would you be interested in like my own Peter Baelish and Ned Stark shipping stories?
Would
I can provide that for you.
Especially if it's
I-
necrophilia.
I have it in my little secret folder right now. I can give
Sure,
to
you
you.
have a secret folder, and I really don't want anything to do with it.
Where did Ned's head go after all?
It,
It's in a private chamber up there somewhere in the Ire.
I mean, still, I do agree that political intrigue needs to happen more, and it feels like the characters are very two-dimensional.
I
It's
mean-
really sad that one of the characters that has had the most character development is fucking Varian. And that's me. The only character development that he's really had is gone from really fucking angry to slightly pissed off.
He's still pretty
And then
boring.
super mellow, and then learning how to be a military leader
I
in
frankly,
a scenario.
seriously, I really think that like the most the characters that they have potential to really do things with are like Varian's son. What's his name? God
Anduin?
damn it. And Anduin. I think Anduin Wren has the potential to be a great character.
No, God, no. War Crimes butcher that character, and it's canon now, and I hate it. No, Anduin's so bad.
No.
Yeah, Anduin's such a bad character. Like
kind of a Boy
Jesus Christ.
Scout.
Very Sue bad or
No, just bad. Like, I think my little brother can probably write a better story
provide
than
an
that.
example of why he is bad.
Because he's one dimension. Hey, you think two dimensions bad? One dimension's worse. I think that is
I think he wants an example
Like-
of why.
just the whole. I want to be good, but then I don't. Have you read War Crimes? Like,
No, that's why we're asking you for
Ugh.
an example. If you can't
It's-
give us an
it-
example, I'm gonna start calling you Zir.
Hey, don't call him me. I at least am able to back up my arguments and not have to rely on kitty smut in order to push my
And
point.
by the way, Heimdall, go fuck yourself. He is a priest, not a paladin.
Who?
Paladins are the old and busted. Priests are the new hotness. Priests have not gotten enough love. Period.
Whatever. Paladins have always been hot. Priests are old news. Pick up a Warhammer. Come on, you pussies.
What Warhammer? When you're talking about paladins, are you talking about like
Paladins-
pre-BC paladins?
Paladins
where
are
they're
everything a
expected to
priest
actually
are
kill?
with a hammer.
But okay, what?
I don't even know what's going on. I was just paladin hammer.
Not putting out that old school
Grenade.
paladin pride.
No, paladins were fucking shit back in the day, unless you were a healer. And even then, it was you sitting in the back and healing. And if you didn't want to heal, then fuck you. You weren't coming to Molten Core.
You mean?
Which is another.
Oh, hey. I think Seal of Command Ret Pallies probably had it good.
Oh, we
Back in the day.
did. Burning Crusade? Oh, yeah.
When I was talking pre-BC, did I say Burning Crusade? No.
Sorry, I don't actually listen to your words. I just listen for keywords.
It was
and
it
then
was the same in
put
Burning
my opinion
Crusade.
out there.
Red Paladins didn't change from vanilla to PC.
I mean, let's be fair. They're bubble hearthing pussies in vanilla, and they're bubble hearthing pussies now.
Says the guy that plays a priest that can essentially stop it. Oh,
I mean, I'm
Damn.
just saying that priest actually has depth. You know, priests are phenomenal. You can do things with whatever. In any case, In any case, I guess, I really think that the entire expansion should have been about the Eastern Kingdoms. That would have been fucking amazing.
Hold on, before we get into this, I want to
Yeah.
answer your question why I think Anduin's a bad character. But throughout all of War Crimes, his little struggle is about how can I be good? Oh no, sometimes I think of something bad might happen for me being good, but I still want to be good the whole time. Like,
Which is very disappointing.
His whole character is, I want to be good, but I might have a bump in the road that might make me do something bad. But in the end, I'm going to work really hard to be good, and then it ends up being that way the whole time. That was my whole problem with Anduin and War Crimes. That's why I think he's a bad character.
So you're upset
You know
because he's a
what?
teenager that has teenage angst?
I guess, yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe we'll get lucky and Anduin will die.
Well, they got close, except they had, well, yeah.
That would be interesting.
Here's to hoping.
I would like to
It
see
would be
the,
wonderful.
I would like to see the effect that
Somebody
that
needs to
has
die,
on
and I
Darian.
think Anduin needs to die. Anduin needs to die, or Varian.
No,
needs
you
to
can't.
You know who really needs to
Anduin
die?
can't die?
You know who needs to die?
Why can't
Vol'jin.
Anduin die?
Because the almighty Velen, our beloved Draenei friend, already had like this immortal vision that he hasn't been wrong about yet, about how Anduin leads an army of light to fight Sargeras. That's what we think he is.
Was that in the
he
book?
can't die. No, it's some sort of short story on
Whatever,
Blizzard's
he's an
site.
old fuck and he dies. How does he die? Do we know how he dies?
Who, Velen?
Yeah.
Velen? No, our Velen doesn't die. Alternative universe Velen dies. So here we go. I want to get into this one because I've been wanting to touch up on alternative universe.
Oh, you're
And I-
kidding. So we're gonna have like two Velens and one... Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, alternative universe Velen dies at the Battle of Karabor. That's it. It's not our Velen. Our Velen is safe and sound, but alternative universe one dies. And guess what? There's a paradox going on, even though people will say it's not a paradox, but our Vindicator Marad comes back into alternative universe Draenor, and alternative universe Marad dies. I think that's how it goes.
Of course
at the Battle of
die.
Karabor. It's such bullshit. I hate alternative universe because in the end it doesn't matter. None of this will matter in the long run.
So how do you think we're all going to get back to present day? Do you think a time wizard dragon is going to fix everything?
Kadjar.
Or-
Kadjar is probably going to do some bullshit or whatever.
Who?
Which is another thing.
It's Khadgar.
Oh,
Khadgar,
Khadgar.
whatever.
Kadjar.
Hold on. Can someone confirm if that's alternative universe Khadgar or our universe?
I think it's
one?
our universe one.
That's such bullshit. God damn it.
I don't know. I don't know any about this.
He can pretty much do anything.
And by the way,
that-
Vindicator Marad, also still a Russian space ghost pussy. Continue.
Hey, no, that guy is badass. He was in Burning Crusade trailer.
Yeah,
He's
but he
like
still
the
hasn't.
iconic Draenei Paladin.
It's so dumb
Yeah, he
because
did-
he hasn't done anything for
He
3
wields-
expansions.
He is
giant-
someone though.
He wields a giant dildo.
Crystal dildo. Get it right, man. From the Exodar. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm. So much
to be
for their
factual
advanced
here.
technology. It vibrates. Awesome.
He's a paladin.
Hey, vibration technology is very advanced for Azeroth.
He is a character though. He's actually a really significant character. He is Garona's uncle.
Oh God, let's not even.
No, that's always been a thing though. She's always had family. But just in Burning Crusade was finally that's an actual thing. But he is her uncle.
But now you have in the fucking comics, fucking Medivh, Mary Sue, Medan. I'm sorry.
Medan, yeah.
Half,
Oh
and
God!
half,
Can we not?
half-
No.
half-
Let's.
half uber bullshit.
Half Draenei,
That's
half
another-
orc, half human.
I'm a mage, shaman, priest,
That's-
magic thing.
That's Richard Knack ejaculating all over the story.
He did that
and
too.
I hate it. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That's Richard Knack again. Let's not talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. But Vindicator
let's.
Marad though, he's a pretty awesome character. When it comes when he will be the only interesting character I think in Warlords of Draenor because he knows what happens to his sister. And guess who his sister is? A character in alternative universe Draenor.
Garona's mom.
Yes, she's supposed to be a character. I don't think
She
it is,
gets
though.
raped. Better tell
Yes.
Zero so he doesn't play the expansion because he doesn't agree with rape.
God damn
No,
it.
it's not that I disagree with rape. It's just I disagree about raping 13-year-olds.
He disagrees
and
about
graphic
moisture.
it's talking about it.
Yeah, as long as there's no moisture.
You know I'm right.
Monster.
You guys can justify it as much as you want, but that's fucking.
I'm not.
creepy.
I didn't. I
You know
haven't.
what
I haven't
would be
made a
so
comment
much
on
better?
this.
It would be so much better. Is it? You know, the guy. What's his name? The guy who wrote the fucking thing. If he didn't come back, a couple of years later when the show got popular, and telling people, I was actually kidding. It's not. She's not really 13. She's actually 18, because yeah, because I said so. It's actually longer years on that planet. He fucked up when he has to come back and correct himself.
Who said that?
The author of whatever the book is called. I don't even know what his fucking name is.
We're talking about this again?
Hebrew decided that apparently I don't read or something because I don't like reading erotica.
We should have a different subject because I'm very uncomfortable right now. I'm sweating in my Florida room.
You would say that there's moisture?
I've been
Yes,
sweating
there is
all this
actually a lot of
episode.
moisture on my arms. I'm like sweating right now, and I have like this neck beard that I'm trying to grow out because I think the style is amazing. And I'm working. I just ordered my fedora as well, and I'm sweating here right now.
I've got like
think
5
that,
you can
like,
borrow if you want.
I'm so torn about the expansion because I think that seeing pre-destruction Draenor is very cool. Seeing some of these orc legends that you've heard so much about is cool, but basically butt fucking all of them is not cool.
I think it's awful, the whole idea behind it, because
It's such a cop-out.
you need to keep your mystery and your like. I know Warcraft's running out of ideas, like the whole idea of the story behind Warcraft, but you have to keep some of your mystery. Like you have to keep your your player's imagination intact.
They're not running out of ideas. You have
They're not
have-
running out, but we can kind of guess what's coming up.
I mean,
And with Mists of Pandaria, they prove they can make up something, but that's a different thing. But
I mean, they have so much that they could actually build on. They could build on the tons of human kingdoms that they haven't touched. They could build on Stromgarde. They could build on the Forsaken. They could build on Kalimdor. We haven't been touched ever. They could build on the fact that the Grim Totems are still out there, and basically, douchebag Grim Totem is still directly responsible for the death of Karn Bloodhoof. Which Bane is being notoriously pussy about, and not really.
no, dude, Bane's like a awful yes man to everything.
Which I don't.
He's a yes cow.
But-
Excuse you.
They still haven't dealt with Azshara, which is still a huge issue. There's still more old god bullshit to deal with. So there's tons of things that they could have absolutely still gone with. So I don't think that they're running out of ideas at all. They're just afraid to build on something that already exists. I think.
Yeah,
that's the
and
thing.
they want to hit the nostalgia note, basically.
Yeah, that's
With this
exactly what they're
expansion.
doing. They're
Like, Burning
pandering.
Crusade was great. Everybody loved Burning Crusade. We're going back.
Well, you know why Crusade was fantastic is because the game was still fucking terrible back then. You required a significant amount of cooperation from people within both your guild and your faction in order to do anything. Now that's no longer necessary because, hey, I can play this game completely solo until I need somebody, and then I'm only 5 minutes away from looking for dungeon, looking for raid group. I mean, there's no... the server magic is gone. In addition to the fact that the game is less broken than it used to be.
By the way, the Emerald Dream expansion was solved completely in a book.
Oh yeah, like a book
Yeah.
that wasn't really brought to light anyway. They didn't get any exposure. It was just written by yours truly.
Basically,
Mitch Mack.
the Nightmare was the original satyr, and like the satyr's spirit and blah blah blah, and Malfurion kicked his ass and moved on.
I thought it was Varian that led an army of nature or whatever into it. I thought that was Varian.
Either way, something happened.
It was bullcrap. And you know what's even sadder is like there was no mention of it in the game. There's no mention of it in the game. It's
Yeah,
bullshit.
one day Malfurion just shows up in Darnassus
He's like,
unexpectedly.
"Hey guys, guess what?
Remember
that
me?
crisis is over."
Hey, where's my brother?
Here's the thing about Emerald Dream. It's a copy of Azeroth. That's so cool. But no, it's solved in a book. That's not even that big.
They could have done a lot with it. I agree with Brindle again. Wow, boy, that's getting old. But
Can we? Where's some Twitch questions?
we absolutely, like, the next expansion could be done about Loiteron in the Eastern Kingdoms. Absolutely, it could.
It should, not just could. It should be.
They won't do
But
it.
chances are Blizzard won't do it because that would require them actually hammering out the storyline that they have refused to do so because the moment they hammer it down, they start showing favoritism.
Through the troll stuff, I mean, Eastern Kingdoms, right there. They could hammer out a bunch of the shit with the trolls. They could hammer out a bunch of shit with Trollbane. They could hammer out. Fuck them. They could hammer out.
They're up in that corner.
But seriously, no, they really could. There is just so much there that they could do, and not to mention, talk about sparking cool world PvP. Holy shit!
Be Terran Mill and South Shore all over again.
Oh, instead of instancing it and not having the same magic that everybody loved in the first place. Yeah.
Talking about pandering. Although I am very excited about my fire quickie.
I don't even know what that's the thing.
I mean, Firelands was such a goddamn cop out. All of it.
It's a copy of Molten Core. Like
all of it. Adam was just.
Hey
but
man,
it was better
Molten Core, we
designed.
get to relive that. Come on, in a couple of months, we're gonna get to go relive that one fantastical journey that was Molten Core. Mages only invited for food. Warlocks only invited for portal.
Oh yeah, are they keeping the rules the same? Like, they better be.
No.
That'd be so funny. Like, see a bunch of fucking fire mages running there. Why can't I kill it? Like, that'd be kind of funny.
That'd be funny if they actually.
hilarious.
It'd be funny if they reverted it back where only like one warlock stock could stack on the mob.
Oh,
there's only like 12 debuffs.
And you keep putting it on, and just wipes off the other teammates. Curse of Agony.
Only one warrior put Sunder up. God damn it! Only one. And
I don't
no.
know. I think that the possible redemption of the Forsaken on some level is a phenomenal selling point to the game, and I think that it could be something that could absolutely be expounded upon.
How do you do that, Wizard?
I mean, just there's already the mechanics in game. You've already talked in numerous examples about the light and the healing powers of the light, and the fact that it is theoretically possible for redemption to be achieved. So, if you really think about it, like, it's already been said by Blizzard developers that, like, okay, so I'll use Holy Priests as an example. Forsaken Holy Priests, as they heal other players, they actually heal a little bit of themselves at the same time. So, with enough power, with enough, wizardry, you could theoretically bring a Forsaken back from the dead. Theoretically. And remove the curse from and I just think playing off that, even if it never actually happens, which it probably shouldn't, you should never actually get to that point, but that idea really, instead of taking these Forsaken and making completely two-dimensional characters, they can really take Forsaken and make them, I think, an absolutely a race that captures everyone's hearts and imaginations again.
I just don't like Forsaken.
Well, you're wrong, and Forsaken are amazing.
Yeah, as amazing as Draenei.
Well, yeah, fucking Draenei and goddamn.
If you want to talk about
My bad,
untapped
we don't have
potential,
much
you can't
max.
top the Draenei. The Draenei are just underutilized.
I disagree.
You
I
can
think
say-
the
you can
Draenei
say
were
they don't-
basically thrown in there because they forgot they needed an alliance race.
Well, weren't that? I thought I read somewhere that like the Pandaren were going to be the alliance race.
They were.
I mean,
That was the original intention. But
Even
they
back
backed
in-
up that. Yeah.
Even back in vanilla, when they announced that the Forsaken were going to be a horde race, that was like the shakiest thing ever. Like, how can they justify that? Like, it's completely fine to us now, but back then that was such a foreign, out of left field concept, more so than the Draenei ever were.
How? Why?
Because after the Frozen Throne in Warcraft 3, there was no indication that the Forsaken would ever have any leaning towards the horde.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
because
But they wouldn't have any leaning towards the alliance either.
Like they
Well,
just
even
they
like-
just shoehorned it in for vanilla.
Well, you're also
That
missing
is-
a lot of the purpose of how they actually did it. Because you got to keep in mind, remember, when they're initially introduced, they put really hard on it was alliance and convenience, and that the Forsaken feared that I also hated the alliance more than the Horde, and
Yes.
that's why they allied themselves with them. And also Thrall, I think he had some influence from Karen, decided,
No.
hey, No,
No. Cows do not like Forsaken at all.
Really? Oh, there
No.
was that one.
It had to. It had to
hang
been
out.
Vol'jin or Eitrig that have whispered in Thrall's ear about that. The Tauren do not like Forsaken in any way,
Wait a minute.
and
So
I
that
still
one
think
chick-
they don't.
Hold on,
Huh?
bullshit. There's that one chick who used to give out quests in Thunder Bluff who was like, "Oh, we need to redeem the Forsaken," and sent you on a bunch of quests to help.
She was a Tauren, right?
Yeah, she was.
She's not. She's like one Tauren.
She's bad.
She's an exception
No.
with the rule.
She's
Yeah,
the
like-
exception to Zir being right. Yeah, I see how it is.
My point was, you can't give the Draenei
No, you're
shit
right.
for the same thing that Forsaken did, which was a shaky alliance of mutual convenience. They're both guilty of it.
Well, even then, like,
But
they
I
even
still
went
think-
so far as to make sure that the Forsaken, when they started off, they were like neutral with everybody. When you
Yeah, that was
first
cool.
start off, like nobody, it was the way you had to build up reputation with everybody in order to be trusted, and it made sense because hell, why the hell would you want to trust a stinking corpse? I wouldn't.
All right, we only have 10 minutes left, so we should probably wrap this up. We did promise to do some questions, so if you do have questions, this is probably a good time to ask them.
Make sure they're interesting
Um,
questions.
Yeah,
I'm not taking your damn stupid questions.
but it is still an alliance of convenience, and I think that the Forsaken are a great untapped potential.
And I'm just arguing that the Draenei are the same way. I think there's so much potential in so many corners of Warcraft that they're just ignoring it all just to throw in some nostalgia with old dead orcs.
Well, we in the next expansion we'll luck out and we'll be able to fly spaceships
That's
and
it.
have the Draenei teach us how to fly them. It'll be
Why
great.
not?
I wish.
Why not? What else can possibly go wrong?
Agrar asks, do you think they're going to make some shit lore or quests for the Robin Williams NPC when they're introduced?
They should just leave it as a tribute.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's going to be more than likely just a tribute because the moment they try to reintroduce anything, it's just going to be weird.
What are your thoughts on the possible return of Rassic and Hennek? Well, one, Rassic is already back. I've talked with her a couple days now. I say, if they're back, great. If they're not, oh well.
Hey man, maybe we'll luck out. We'll get some more Facebook drama.
We can only be so
God damn it.
lucky. What else kind of drama do we have right now?
We're not going to. We could talk a little more, but right now it's all the usual bullshit of was annoyed, yelling at people about Banish.
Yeah, shitty
Other people
talisman
yelling at
drama.
Banish. Yeah, it's bullshit talisman stuff. You all are bad and should feel
That's still
bad for
drama.
feeling that shit. Every single one of you is bad about it. I'm also calling you out, Return. Why are you feeding into it? Stop it. You know better. I know you know you're better.
Bad
You even know
boy.
you're better than
You
it, but
don't
still
do
bring it
that.
up. Bad.
Get the newspaper
Damn it.
on you.
Guys, okay, I'm sorry. One time I got a talisman and I walked in the shrine and started dancing with someone and then got killed. Shit.
Hey,
That
I have
bad
a-
person.
Really?
What?
I think Agrar's drunk.
Oh, probably.
I don't even want to entertain that. That
Yeah.
is such a shitty question.
I can't even
And,
see what he said.
he's talking about Ninja Turtles and the next expansion, and
Dude, a Ninja Turtle
Doesn't even
expansion? I would so buy that.
How do you think the RP community will handle the whole not being able to return to Azeroth?
We already
device?
talked about
I
this.
think-
It's going to be a wizard
Hold on, no,
time
we-
dragon.
We
Is going to
kinda
facilitate
didn't
it.
really, No, I think we didn't really touch a lot on that one. I think.
I think I touched on it. The
How-
people
Stop
who
Stop trying to think about it. A wizard time dragon's going to do it. If they can get us out there, they can bring us back. And the more you think about it, the more it's going to piss you off.
I think that it will be one of those situations where it'll be kind of held off on, and then once the situation is resolved, then RPers will write stories about that.
Yeah, like just if I come back, I'm going to just play the game, and then when we somehow get back, I'm going to write how my characters reacted to going back in time.
Right.
I'm still going to RP if I do come back, but I'm going to RP, little ideas that I would have for my story in general for Warlords of Draenor.
I think
But I'm going to hate it because I hate the whole idea of it.
I
But
think
I'm still going to do it.
We
I
have
think
time
the people-
for like 2 or 3 more questions, by the way. So keep going.
I was gonna say I think the people who are really adherent to the lore are gonna have a headache with it. But my advice is be a lore breaker. Just port back to Stormwind. Just do it. Just be okay with it.
I don't know. I feel like the only people who are really going to care about it are the people who like ERP and Moonguard, and you really shouldn't listen to them anyway. So,
Dude, I want my characters to bone some like ancient Draenei from about 30 years ago, even though they're already ancient. I mean, that's just me.
if you play your cards right, you might end up actually becoming your own grandpa.
Exactly.
pull up some Fry shit. I don't even care. I'll do it. Dude, what if like you go back in time with some orcs and like become your what? I don't know. Next question.
You're getting a little bit creepy.
Oh,
You're already sitting up
I don't
role
even- I
play to
don't
be
know
your
what
own
to say
grandpa.
we got any more questions? I can't see.
Well,
I'm
and
not
so
looking at.
I don't think that. Yeah, we'll address that if they come up. But Graphite, thanks for coming on the show, man. It's really been a pleasure having you.
Oh, no
Yeah,
problem.
this has been a
It
lot
was
of fun.
Dude, I even touched it. I didn't scratch the surface on all I wanted to say. I was actually. There's so much more. So much more. I
And
wanted to talk about RP more. We talked a lot about lore.
What you
It's
know what
really
you can
fun.
do is you can just resubscribe and you can start posting, say it on the forums.
That's not a good idea.
yeah, I think it's a great
I
idea.
don't even have an iPad. So
There definitely will be more opportunities to talk about it, and we will get back onto our regularly scheduled, Monday nights. Definitely come back, man. It was actually, I really think that was an informative show. One thing that we were requested on the forums, which I like, is that we're going to start, definitely with permissions, of course, letting people know about upcoming events that our peers are holding, so on and so forth. I would really like to see Emerald Dream kind of get back to its roots and not just be a PvP server, but also an RP server again. And I don't know, I'm excited for it. And despite the fact that WODs can be considered complete shit from a lore perspective, maybe it will spark some really interesting RP.
The only RP it's going to generate are people finding really creative ways to work in magical time dragons into how they want to do things. So.
I'm sorry, Azir, I can't hear you through the sound of your moral compass still shoved straight up your ass.
I can't hear you. What? Sorry, that.
But I can see
Oh, that
your
was such a good
compass
comeback.
right
That
now.
was a good one.
It was. I'm tired. I'm exhausted, and I really don't feel like I need to defend the fact that hey, I don't like kitty rape, but that's.
Well, guys, thank you for watching. It's a pleasure to have you as always, and hope you enjoy the show. Please tune in next week. We will have updates as they come.
Yeah, well, I'll make an announcement as soon as we know what we're doing.
Yeah, we like to plan ahead. I can't even.
Hey, if you want to be on the show, whisper me.
Yep, absolutely. We'll do what we can about getting people on, for calls and stuff like that. But we'll see what we can do. So once again, guys, thank you for coming out, and it has been a pleasure.
Good night.
Good night.
Chill with Todd.
No, we're not
Fucking
doing
amazing
that.
Fire.